Okay. All right. So First Kings chapter 3 is where we're going to be this morning. I'm doing more of I'm gonna have probably a little bit of lengthy reading this morning because I'm just gonna do more of a declaration this morning, which is a part of prayer. Declaring is a part of prayer, but I'm going to base it off of something in the scripture this morning because this is something that I am, just I'm just after the Lord concerning some things right now. So I'm going to declare, use this as a declaration regarding some things. And First Kings chapter 3 is what I'm going to come out of this morning. Just 1 second. 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. First Kings chapter 3. Boy, okay, so let's go right here. All right, just one. Y'all bear with me 1 second here. Okay. Okay. All right. First Kings chapter 3 this morning. And like I said, I'm just going to do a declaration. So I'm going to read some things this morning. I'm going to start at verse 5 and give context of some things this morning. Thank God for life, health, and strength today. So what we have here is First Kings chapter 3 and verse 5 here. And it says, "In Gibeon the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. And God said, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said, Thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day." Let me show y'all something. I want you to catch what he says here in verse 6. Solomon is talking to, it says, the Lord appeared to him in verse 5 in a dream by night. So he has a visitation from God. And in verse 6, he says to the Lord, Solomon is speaking to God, and he says to him, he says, "You have shown my dad some great mercy." I want you to catch the word right there. He says, "You've shown him some great mercy." He did not use the word grace. He used the word mercy because David was one that found himself in some situations. Remember, David was the one that was technically a murderer because he had Uriah killed in order to have Bathsheba. And so when Solomon is talking to the Lord, he says, "Listen, you have shown my father such great mercy. It was not because my father was all this and that, although he is known to be one after your heart. But why is he known to be one after your heart? Because he just wouldn't stop. He just wouldn't quit. He wouldn't let no circumstance or no situation cause him to pull away or back away from who he knew the Lord had purposed him to be, or who he knew God was. There's something about when you know who God is. It just does something for you. It'll pull you out of some dark places. It'll pull you out of some clutches of hell when you remind yourself or know who God is. And so Solomon says here, he says, "You brought my father out with a great hand of mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth." So notice the wording that's used here. He says, "My father walked before you in truth." What does he mean? He wasn't lying about anything. He was willing to be honest about the place where he was. He would tell the Lord when he messed up. If he said something, he did something. He was honest and open. He didn't try to hide behind it, to deny tried to pretend like it wasn't there, like it wasn't true. He says he walked before thee in truth. So this is given definition as to why David would be known as a man after God's own heart. He walked before him in truth. Then it says, and in righteousness. So he would always bring himself from a point of just being right to a state of righteousness, which is beyond the scope of just being or doing something right. It means to step into the righteousness or the mind of God, the position or the place of God. So he would get into a place of righteousness. So he would kill Uriah, but then would come and say, God, I'm sorry for what I did. I had no business doing that. He would even have Bathsheba pregnant, and the child would be born, and there was something that was happening with the child, and David went before the Lord in a fasting and a prayer before God in order for the baby to be healed. But when the Lord did not heal the baby died. David said, okay, he got up from that place and moved on, because he knew that this was something that took place because of some act that he had committed. So he was a man in righteousness, and then he says in uprightness of heart. 1 Kings chapter 3 and verse 6, it says, and in uprightness his heart stood upright. His heart was not that of low decree. It was not that of a heart that you have to be cautious of, or that of a heart that was willing to do some of anything. You know, you have to really, when you look at this and understand this in the context, I told y'all I'm going to decree some things today, and always come forth with wisdom so that you understand. Check this out. When you see this here, Solomon is given a depiction of his father. He's talking about the position that his father had, or the position that his father stood in, not even really from the eyesight of him speaking as a son, but really speaking as one that watched his father go through these things and saw him come through and be brought out of things. So he says he has an uprightness of heart with thee, and thou hast kept for him this great kindness. Oh man, he says, Lord, that you preserved a part of you for my father, to show kindness unto him, to give him some things, to share some things with him. You showed or displayed this kindness with him. He says that thou hast given him a son. You left him a lineage. You gave him something in the earth. Let me tell y'all something. If that don't excite you, then I'm sorry, but it is an excitement to me when to know that the Lord would leave something in the earth, something that he allowed me to be able to birth, and leave it in the earth as to where it is attached to my name. It has the ability for people to look at it and to say, that's something that Delphine Lee did right there. That is something that she made a difference in, and it to be something that is good, something that is great. He says you gave him a son to sit on his throne. You caused generations of lineage to come from generations, he says, as it is this day. So this is a conversation that Solomon is having with the Lord. And so now he gets into verse 7. In verse 6, he's talking about, God, I see how good you have been unto my father, and I acknowledge the fact that I saw my father live a particular way. I saw my father go through all types of things, but his relationship with you was steadfast and unmovable. He found himself in a place of knowing how to get back to you, regardless of what state he found himself in. Can I just stop by this morning for just a few minutes to encourage a few people to say to you, listen, no matter what state you find yourself in, please, always know how to get yourself to where you need to be with God. Always leave yourself leave a place or reserve a place in you that has an acknowledgement and a reverence and a respect for God that will bring you back to where you need to be. Don't ever allow yourself to get so far out there that you are beyond the scope of reach. Oh my God, God is willing to reach, but the thing of it is we have to know that God will reach. We can get so far out as to where we think that God can't reach, and we will keep ourselves out. But don't ever allow yourself to get to that place. And so this here is amazing. Verse 7 says this. Solomon is yet talking. It says, "And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father." He says, "But I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or to come in." So he's talking to him, says, "Listen, I realize that you want to use me, but I'm not really sure how this thing is going to be done." That's really the place that all of us comes in, to be honest with you. It is the place where we don't realize exactly how this thing is going to be done. And so verse 8, he says, "And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude." Now Solomon is talking about the company of people to which the Lord has placed him in. Look at the good accolade he gives about them. He says they are people that you have chosen, God, and they are great people, and they cannot be numbered. And verse 9 says, "Give therefore," I love this here, "give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge." I'm about to get into the meat of it now. He says, "Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad." God, don't let me run out of here this morning. That I may be able to discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thou so great a people? So Solomon says, look, this is what I'm asking you to do for me, God. I need you to give me the spirit of discernment that I may know what I'm dealing with, God. I need to know when they smile in my face, but all the time they may want to take my place. I need you to allow me to be able to see that. I need you to let me see exactly what I'm dealing with. I want to know exactly if they real or not. I want to know exactly how trustworthy can they be. I want to know, God. I want you. I don't care about fame or fortune, but I want you to let me know who I'm dealing with, because I can't put myself in just anybody's hand. I need you to let me know. So this is what Solomon is saying. I'm decreeing something today, y'all. I promise you. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to read it to you again. He says this in verse 9. He says, "Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people." God, help us, please. Please help us real good this morning. Give us an understanding heart to judge thy people. Now, folk would say, you can't judge me, but I would like to beg to differ with what the text says right there. Solomon says, I need to have a heart of understanding when I judge the people. I need to know exactly what I am dealing with so that I am able to handle them in the right capacity of how I should handle them, God. So I need an understanding heart. I need you to deal with my heart, which consists of my soul. I need you to touch my mind, my emotions, and my will so that I'm able to judge thy people. I'm not dealing with them from what I think about the situation, but I'm dealing with them from what I know based off of the understanding heart that you have given me, God, that I may discern. I need to be able to see what I'm dealing with, good and bad. Notice the terminology he used. He did not say I need to discern spirit. He says I need to be able to discern between good and bad. I'm decreeing some things under everyone that is under the sound of my voice today. Something is going to happen for you in the realm of discernment. I can promise and assure you of that. Something is going to open for you in the realm of discernment. I know what I'm doing. I'm fully qualified for what I am doing. I'm in the realm to go after some things this morning. Verse 9 again, 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 9. He says, "Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart." Oh God, there's nothing worse than being ignorant concerning concerning what you are dealing with. God, there's nothing worse than you, me wanting to see something for something that it is not. God, we need an understanding heart. Solomon said, listen, I'm in the company of some people, and you have chosen or given me an assignment with these people. And so what I need you to do for me is to please make sure that I know what I'm dealing with, okay? Don't let me deal with it based off of my emotions. My emotions may cause me to want to be close to them when they're trying to kill me. My emotions may cause me to be involved with stuff I don't need to be involved in. I don't want my emotions in it. He come through it with wisdom. He says, look, I need you to give me a understanding heart, God. I need you to touch my mind, my soul, get into it, get all the way into it, get my mind, my emotions, and my will, so that I'm able to judge thy people and discern between good and